pop culture interview series from In the Know. I'm your host, Gibson Johns, and this week on the podcast we have Jade Roper Tolbert, who was on Chris Soule's season of The Bachelor, and then she found the love of her life, her husband Tanner Tolbert, on the second season of Bachelor in Paradise. She is a longtime Bachelor Nation member. She is still one of the few headline makers that has come out of the show, and her and Tanner are one of the few success stories from the show. So I always think that, you know, as an avid watcher of The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, that her point of view on things is worthwhile because, again, she's one of those few success stories, and they now have 3 kids together, potentially a 4th. You know, she's not pregnant, but she said she's open to a 4th. So I interviewed her and I asked her all about motherhood and life after the show and how she sort of balances being connected to the show and Bachelor Nation while also sort of like growing her life outside of it, and also like the millions of followers that she has from the show. And like, I always think it's very interesting for Bachelor people, especially, sort of how they maintain those connections after being on these shows years out, when they still get attention, they still have all these followers who are interested in their lives. And she was promoting My First Love collection with Carter's, where she basically just curated a bunch of must-haves for a baby's first year, and she obviously has experience with that, so we talked a little bit about that. And then I got her thoughts on all things The Bachelor. I mean, there's been a lot of things happening in Bachelor Nation over the past several months, the main one being Chris Harrison, the host, exiting the entire franchise. So I got her thoughts on that and sort of whether she thinks it's sort of the end of an era or start of a new one, and sort of what she thinks the show could look like. I got her thoughts on Katie's season and just sort of the overall kind of push for more inclusive love stories on these shows. And, you know, she said she is kind of protective of Bachelor in Paradise, which is a totally different show now than when she was on it. But she still loves watching as a fan and an alum of it. So she had some great thoughts on everything. And I think it's really cool how her and Tanner have, again, they're this love story that is a success story from The Bachelor. And I think that there's a lot to be said about, you know, a lot of these relationships don't work out, but also, you know, a few of them really do, and they're long lasting, and they're a testament to that. So keep listening for my interview with Jade Roper Tolbert, and please rate, review, and subscribe to We Should Talk on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. All right, so we're here with Jade Roper Tolbert, former Bachelor in Paradise star, all-around amazing person. Jade, how are you?
Thank you. I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. How's your day going? We're midweek right now. We're on hump day.
Oh gosh. Yes. Well, I have 3 littles, so I feel like I never know what day of the week it is. It's just another day where I wake up and take care of my kids, but it's a good day. You always have to look at the positives, right?
Yeah. How is life? I mean, you have 3 kids right now. How is life with baby Reed? Is he 4 months right now? Is that right? Almost 5?
And he's actually he just turned 7 months, if you can
7
believe it
months.
or not.
Oh my God.
Yes.
I mean, the time flies. I'm saying time flies. I'm sure that for you, the time is crazy right now.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like I just had him yesterday. With a 3rd,
Right, exactly.
It's gone so fast. It's so sad almost, because I feel like it's been such a fog and it's such a blur, and now he's just so big.
Oh my God, it's so exciting. How are your other 2 as big siblings? Like, are they just embracing that role?
Really good. So my daughter Emerson is almost 4, and she is so helpful and she's so sweet, and she's kind of like little second mama. She's like, she like talks to him like I feel like how I talk to Reed. So I feel like she very like pays a close attention to what I say.
That's so cute. I love it.
Yeah. And then my son Brooks, they're only him and Reed are only 15 and a half months apart. So he was pretty much a baby when Reed was born too.
Right.
And so I don't feel like he realizes like what life was like even before Reed anymore. So he still gets a little jealous sometimes, but you can start to see that they're really starting to connect, especially as Reed is less of a like a potato, you know, like
right.
Little babies, they just kind of lay
more of a
just,
personality
like,
and more like aware of reality. Yeah, for sure.
Totally.
So, I mean, okay, so your oldest is almost 4, which means that you've been married for over 5 years, which is, again, like you just said, time has flown by in 7 months with Reed. I'm sure that the 5 years of marriage have also like it's probably been such a whirlwind for you in these past 5 years of life. I mean, how do you reflect on, I mean, 5 years, first of all, congratulations. That's a huge
Thank you.
accomplishment, to be honest. And I'm curious just how you sort of think back to the past 5 years. It's been a whirlwind.
Yeah, I mean, so Bachelor in Paradise is filming right now, and that was
Right.
6 years ago. 6 years ago for us, which just feels unreal because at the same time, it does feel like just yesterday.
Hmm.
But so much of our life has changed, and we kind of were on the fast track. I mean, we got engaged on the show, got married. I want to say like 6, 7 months later,
Hmm.
and now we have 3 kids. So it's just been crazy.
Crazy. It was probably a huge change for you around that time when you started, like, your life was more documented, and more people were paying attention to that life. And, you know, do you, and I feel like there are probably like different pros and cons to that lifestyle that you have. But ultimately, I feel like what's so cool is like, even just scrolling through your Instagram before doing this interview, it's like you have all these amazing home videos, all these amazing photos of your family, and you get to document every part of your life. And I don't know, did you ever stop to think about like how special that is, that you kind of get to do that, and kind of have all these cool memories that are fully documented for people to interact with?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like I guess like the other last week my phone quit and I lost all of my photos on it, and somebody was like, "Well, thank God you have all these videos on Instagram and all these photos that you've been documenting your life." So in that way I'm like really thankful. It's like
For
I
sure.
have like all these memories that I still have, but it's a unique thing to put your life out in the public, but
Hmm.
it's something that I actually like really enjoy because I'm able to share like real life moments that aren't only like just normal like pieces of our life, but they may like give somebody a little bit of joy that day. I get DMs all the time and somebody's like, I'm trying for to have a baby and it's, I'm struggling and your photos give me joy, or and I'm like, "Oh, like stuff like that like really moves me," or just able to share like real parts of life. And then even things like I'm teaming up with Carter's, I'm able to share things that are like things that make my life easier or brands that I love. And that's also something really cool that we've been able to step into. Um, so like doing this partnership, I'm able to share clothes that are easier for moms. And that's one of the things that sometimes is harder as moms, like what are things that can make motherhood easier, and I get to document and share that as well, which is really kind of special in a way.
Yeah. So you're curating this list of must-haves for the first year with your baby, and obviously you are right in the middle of that first year of Reed's life. What are some of those essentials that really change your life and make it easier?
Yeah, well, being a third time mom, I feel like I kind of have it down.
Absolutely,
So
yeah.
I've learned like what products that were a waste, of my time
Hmm.
and my money, and what products have really worked for us. And one thing that's really worked for us is sleep sacks. And
Hmm.
so Carter's has these double zip sleep sacks that you can put your baby in, and they've really helped us with our babies being able to sleep better and longer and more comfortable. And the patterns are amazing. They're so cute. They're stylish and sweet. And so that has definitely been a game changer for us, is the sleep sacks. And Carter's makes really soft, amazing sleep sacks on top of all of their bodysuits. We've used them for all 3 of our kids. I've passed them
Amazing.
down. So we have hand-me-downs that are really special, but also I love shopping for my kids. So
It's a
I
balance.
always pick, yeah, you got to pick out the cute new patterns, right?
Yeah, totally. You mentioned like there are things that I mean, like in addition to the must-haves, there are things that you realize that like you bought and you didn't need. What are some of those things that maybe like are hyped up, or that people say that you need, but you actually end up don't needing them?
Some people might use this, but a wipe warmer. So you can have this thing that warms up the wipes, but I never used that,
Too much effort.
things like that. there's there's just so much out there, and it can feel a little
Yeah,
overwhelming as a new mom. So this line is really special because it's every single piece curated for the first year of life. So it comes in bundles, and it kind of takes that stress away.
for sure. Yeah. And I think what's so great is like it's also mostly affordable things, and it's not things that are too
Yes.
too out there for people. And I'm curious, like for you, just, I mean, obviously here you went the route that's something that a lot of people can use and buy for themselves. But you are an influencer and you're somebody who recommends a lot of things to her followers. And how do you sort of balance like the, making sure that the things that you're promoting or recommending that you love are, affordable and kind of attainable for people, but also do you ever try like, or aspirational on the flip side? Like, how do you sort of like think through that kind of from your position?
Yeah, I think my sweet spot that I really like to share is things that are affordable. I love
Yeah.
a good deal, like everyone else
Who
does,
doesn't?
and
Yeah.
I have 3 kids, so it's expensive. So
Yeah.
I try to find things that are still like beautiful and aesthetic, and that moms are gonna love, or even like things that are adorable that you're gonna want to take pictures of your kids in, that are still affordable, because um newborns, they have major blowouts, and sometimes you're just like, you're going through bodysuits, you can't afford that expensive piece, but you
Yeah,
want
for
something that's
sure.
still cute and good quality, and afford, like as I said, like affordable. So that's
Yeah.
kind of like where I try to find things and share those with my followers.
Mm-hmm. And also it's like they're going to grow out of it in a month.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That's probably
Oh my
so
gosh.
weird. Yeah.
My son Reed, I just put away all of his 6 months clothes, and he's now switching into 9 months. So this is actually a perfect time, because I just bought a bunch of stuff from this collection with Carter's too myself. So,
Uh-huh.
but he's already changing. I'm like, I feel like I
Wild.
just put you in this new stuff. Yeah.
Wild. So wild. So you recently, I saw you tease on Instagram, and I think I saw an article about it somewhere that you were open to a fourth. And as somebody I'm one of four
Oh,
kids,
you
and
are?
and I think it's a great number to grow up with. It's like you have your buddy, there's never a dull moment, and I'm sure with three there's never a dull moment either. But what are your current thoughts on that? Because again, I think I'm all for the four kid family.
I'm sure you read, like, my husband's like, I'm going to Vegas with my friends, I'm getting a vasectomy. Apparently there's like vasectomy parties where guys will go and get vasectomies together. I guess it's a thing. But I still, like, in my heart, like, feel like there's a fourth baby out there. My body needs a break.
For sure.
So, but I still just imagine having a fourth. Where are you in the order?
I'm number three, so I'm Reed's
Three.
position.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
my family's three boys and then a girl. So
Okay.
so that's how it is. But I don't know. It's fun. I mean, like again, like a 3-person family is a great size too. But my experience was with four, and it was a great one, and it still is great. So it's you know, but
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like the buddy system. They're always going to have a little like friend that can pair up. And I feel, I don't know. I like the idea for.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm curious, like, because there's a lot going on in Bachelor Nation these days. Like,
Yes.
just like I feel like every week there's something new. And I'm curious, just for you generally, like, obviously you were on two of the shows, and one of them probably holds a really special place in your heart, especially because of where you met Tanner. But
Yeah.
how do you sort of kind of balance staying super connected to Bachelor Nation while also sort of like growing away from it and creating a life outside of it? I'm curious, like, just mentally, because it's obviously a great community, but also you also live your own life.
Yeah. I mean, I think it'll always have a special meaning to us, and we'll always watch it as it's on.
Yeah,
Um, we've just, like, because we are so connected. And I have so many great relationships, so many great friends from the show. Like, Tanner and I are both super close with Ashley and Jared, and I'm
totally.
best friends with Carly, and I have lots of friends. And um, I really have like Ari and Lauren just had their twins, and I like love like keeping up with everyone else from the show's lives too. I'm like almost like a fan watching like the rest of everyone who's been there, but I also know what it's like to be on the show. So as much as like there's all this like drama and all this stuff, like I really have a soft spot for the show.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, that's so right. It's like it's so clear that you've made these lifelong connections with people that are part of your everyday life, and
Mm-hmm.
there's something major to be said about that. And I think that like that maybe sometimes that sort of gets lost in the shuffle because like there is so much drama. But do you think
Yeah.
that, I mean, that must be sort of just like the most special part about it for you, and sometimes gets a little bit overshadowed?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have my family without the show. Like it just,
Right.
I wouldn't. And so it's something that like I'll always be like grateful for. And and as a fan, like I still love to watch the drama. I like to be entertained. So
Of course.
and
Of
it's great.
course.
They always bring the drama. So
Hmm. What do you think? Because you also said recently that you think Bachelor in Paradise has changed a lot since you've been on it. And they're filming right now, and they're
yeah.
having the rotating cast of celebrity hosts, and it's going to be a different show, honestly. So I'm curious what your thoughts are. Because you probably, again, you have that special you have this idea of what the show was like when you were on it, and it was super special, but it's a different show. So I'm curious how that is mentally for you to watch it change.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is different, but I feel like shows have sort of evolved. Like I was season 2, season 1, they didn't even know what they were doing with Bachelor in Paradise. The producers told us that they were like, we didn't even know how it was going to end. Like we were just making up the show as we were going. And
Right.
so season 2, they had a little bit more of a direction, and then it kind of changed just over the seasons. And when we were on it, we were very discouraged to not talk to each other before we went on the show. And now all these people know each other beforehand. They go to
Right.
events, they all like hang out together, they're all friends, they already have these like friendships and relationships. So it's definitely changed since, like, because of that.
Hmm.
But I love it. I think Bachelor in Paradise is the best out of the franchise, and I think it's a great show.
Totally. Yeah, it from my favorite personally is The Bachelorette. That's what gets me every time. But
Yeah.
Bachelor in Paris is obviously still amazing. What do you think of Katie's season so far? It's obviously very early, but are you having fun watching it?
Yeah, I'm having fun watching it. I like her. I feel like she is so sweet, and I feel like she's doing a really great job. Especially because there's so much pressure this season. I feel like with all of the changes and the drama
Hmm.
outside of the show.
Yeah,
And so I feel like she's doing really great. I like her guys. I feel like she's got quite a few connections. So
definitely. Yeah, there's some
yeah.
early faves, obviously. And do you are I again like I love The Bachelorette, so I'm excited that they're doing two in a row. I think that's like a really cool change, and it shows that the world of Bachelor Nation is still like malleable and like open to changing it up. What do you think about their decision
Yeah.
to do that?
I like it. I mean, like, I like the show, and I want to see more diverse love stories. So I love that they're doing two, and I love that it's two very like strong female leads.
Yeah,
And I hope they continue like like I would have loved to have seen Abigail too, because I would have loved, like I
yeah,
said, I would love to see more inclusive, more diverse love stories, because that's what the world has. So
absolutely. I loved Abigail. I hope that
yeah.
yeah, I hope that she gets her shot, because I think that she was I don't know, and she clearly had a connection with Matt too. So I don't know. I loved her. I thought she was amazing. And then obviously there is the whole host change up, and I think I'm sure you've been asked about it before, but you know, do you look at it more as like an end of an era, or sort of like the start of a new one? Because I try to look at it as sort of like the start of a new one. With Tasha and Caitlin sort of manning it. I think they're doing it's so fun to watch them. But as somebody who's so deep in that world, I'm curious to sort of where you're at now that we're seeing sort of what it's beginning to look like without Chris around.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely do think that it is an end of a certain era with the
Mm-hmm.
show, but the show has been changing. And so, like with everything else, like I feel like we should welcome the change. And I do think that Caitlin and Tasha are doing a great job. And I don't know what the future is of the hosting, if they're going to continue with the girls, or if they're going to each season bring on somebody new, if they're going to try to find a permanent host or whatever it
Right.
may be. But they'll figure it out.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. So I mean, so I think, if you look at the past, again, this past 5 years for you, the past 7 years, maybe, you guys have really, you've grown your family, but you've also cultivated this incredible fan base. You have millions of fans who follow your every move, and they love to, they love keeping up with you guys, with your kids, and you probably feel connected to them, and they feel connected to you. And I'd love for you if you could like speak on that for like just a little bit, because it's not everyone gets the opportunity to create this sort of like community that supports them, and I'm assuming it's mostly supportive. Like for you, just like what's it like to have that big following, and to really be showing them a lot of your life in a way that they appreciate.
I mean, sometimes it doesn't even feel like I'm reaching that many people, you're just kind of
Yeah.
like, you click a button on your Instagram and it sends out to people. But when I do get like messages from people, it does mean a lot to me. And I have been able to, I feel like, cultivate a pretty loyal following. Even women who aren't moms, even young women who are just like looking to know more about motherhood, because that's a
Yeah.
lot of what I do share. It's my like 99% of my life is being a mom right now. And so but it's a pretty there are the trolls, but it's a pretty powerful thing to be able to create community and
Hmm.
to share real life and impact other people's lives. And as much as it's silly as it's just Instagram, um, I just think of it. I don't know. It's just crazy that I got this platform from a reality TV show.
Hmm.
I wouldn't have it without The Bachelor. But I've been able to make it into something that is my own. And I
Right.
feel like I've been able to be my authentic self. And I feel like that's why people kind of stick around to watch what I'm doing.
Yeah, and I also think it's it goes without saying that like you and Tanner are there aren't that I mean in the grand scheme of things there aren't that many couples that have stuck it out and made it and are clearly so in love and creating a life together. And there are obviously other success stories from the show, but you are one of them. And I think that like, do you feel as though you're just this might sound silly, but do you feel like you're sort of like a living testament to the fact that these shows can actually work? Like, did you like that they're not just, I don't know, social experiments, but they actually do find people love?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is like a social experiment, like little bubble, but Bachelor in Paradise really worked for Tanner and myself because we got so much time to just tune out the rest of the world, all of our
Hmm.
obligations, all of our stressors, and just focus on getting to know somebody. And we had instant chemistry, and it just really worked for us. And then we got into the outside world, and we kind of had to, I call it like re-fall in love with each other. We like knew we loved each other, but then we were like, okay, now we do have all these like reality like things that are
Totally.
in our lives, and we have to see if they work together. We have to see if our families work together. But I do think that the process of the show works. And I guess we are kind of a living testament to that. We are normal people. We do have like a normal
Of
relationship.
course.
We're not perfect by any means, but yeah, I guess like it is kind of a unique thing that we were able to make it work against kind of the odds.
Jade, it was so fun to get to talk to you and to get to know you. Where can people listen to you, follow you, shop the Carter's collection that you curated after listening to this?
Yeah, so everyone can follow me at my Instagram at Jade Liz Roper. I also have a mommy's podcast. It's called Mommy's Tell All. I do it with my friend Carly Waddell, who was on The Bachelor with me. And then everybody can go to carters.com/live and you can see all my tips and all the pieces I picked out from Carter's My First Love collection, which is a bundle for everything that you may need for your baby for their first year.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jade. It was so fun to talk to you, and have a good rest of your week. Thank you so much for listening. For more celebrity interviews, subscribe to We Should Talk on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. If you like what you heard, please rate and review us, as any show of support you can give us would be greatly appreciated. You can follow me at GIBSONOMA on Twitter and Instagram, and you can follow In the Know at In the Know on Twitter and at Watch In the Know on Instagram. We'll talk to you next time.